Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. This is your future free potato, just another potato, and welcome to another video of Enigmatica 9 Expert. And today we are improving our source generation and logistics. Now, as you remember, we are starting to do some changes around the base. Last episode, we did some components production. So basically we installed a bit more of machines to produce a bunch of new stuff. However, they are still not connected to the power line, and that's because I want to first solve our source logistics, and that's what we are going to do today. But before even starting to think about changing source, I want to save this source to use later. So the first thing we can do is just move everything to some tanks for now. So this will move our source very slowly, but I hope that by the end we finish setting up our mixers. This is going to finish. The second thing I want to finish setting up is these small crystal clusters. So I made some changes. I think I haven't recorded them. But yeah, basically I've made this to be with a lot of amethyst. And here on the ground we have the other 4 kind of crystals that we'll be using a lot. It's not the most efficient setup, but I mean it looks nice. So for me, for now, that's a bit more important than efficiency. We used to have 2 amethyst golems per cluster and set a controller extension as their home, and have some drawers on the top so they can store the items. Moving the shards to their new drawers could have been easier, but it is what it is. At least my hearing survived of all the clicking. But yes, this is how we are going to generate a lot of amethyst shards, because we are going to start to consume a lot of them. So the first thing is I want to build 4 mixers in this space. I still don't know if we are going to use them all of the 4 mixers right now. At least I want to have 2 mixers active to produce a liquefied source. But the idea is to have all of 4 mixers working on producing liquefied source. I also want to change the way we store liquefied source. Although 2 million buckets it may seem a lot, we are going to start to use a lot of energy and thus a lot of liquefied source. So I think it's going to be best to upgrade our fluid container into a better tank. And I'm thinking of using mechanism dynamic tank. And to end up, I want to use modular routers to transfer energy, and a combination of modular routers and fluid pipes from Create to transfer fluids. So I won't be using the modular routers to, for example, transfer fluids from long distance, very long distance. And that's why we have all of this stuff to do. It seems like a little, but it's not really that little thing. There's a lot to think, and I think I'll have some problems while implementing all of this into the base. Now, I hope this is mirrorless. Let's see, this is one build. Does this work also? Yes. This one, I think I built it wrong. And this one is okay. So the output goes here. Output here. The output is here. And yes, this is the only one that I built wrong. The wrong direction. So hopefully I can just switch the blocks. Yes, I can. And this is the output. Okay, so this is mirrorless. That's good to know. Now with all of this set, The only two things that we are missing is to set up the input for water and the input for amethyst shards. After setting up the mixers, what is left is to provide it with some water and amethyst shards. For starters, water will be provided through everlasting springs and amethyst shards manually from drawers. No, but before setting up that, I first want to set up the tank. So all of this will disappear. Most of the piping will also disappear. But again, the idea is to have a kind of central buffer per each big area. So for example, here I would like to have a buffer. For this place, I would like to have a buffer. I would also like to have a buffer for that place also. Those kind of long distance, I think it's going to be better to use regular pipes from Create. Then inside those buffers, in the zone of those buffers, I want to use regular modular routers in order to transfer all of the power and liquids. So I started dismantling some of the piping. And the tank itself. And this should form a multi-block. It has... wow! This is hundreds, thousands, millions, and this should transfer liquid-phase source. This is still more than this regular free container. The one we had the maximum of 2 million, I think, 2 million capacity. This one has 61 million. It's way more. I don't know what influences the maximum capacity. Or I mean this kind of capacity here. I really don't understand how all of this works. I really don't know how this works. It is my first time using these dynamic tanks. Now we have to connect it back to the main distribution line using Create's pumps and pipes, and reconnect the windmill to the stress and rotation system. Okay, and I hope these mechanical pumps, they work. I suppose they will work if they work with a mechanism. I don't think there will be any problem with immersive engineering. And here is where trouble starts. Most of the footage was cut because of all of the spaghetti that was in that clip. There were two problems I encountered. The first, I did a bad job at organizing piping in first place, so I had to do some gymnastics to get the piping to work. It's such a mess. All my base is such a mess. Being honest, my head is just like, I should rebuild all of the base again. Maybe not try to do something beautiful and instead something functional. But I mean, I'm already here. I'm not going to just go back to just a plain, surface. I'll still try to do as much as decoration I can with my small brain that I have. But yes, one recommendation: if you are here, don't build underground base, or if you are going to build underground base, have a clear layout of how are you going to want all of your base. If not, you'll finish with something like this, with this kind of weird spaghetti. And actually this one in the future, it might also break some lines, and I'll have to do more weird stuff like this. So yeah, have something planified from the very beginning that you're building. But yeah, anyway, this is connected. Now I only have to connect it to this small windmill and I'll be done. The second problem, the crate pumps were not pumping from the mixers, so I thought there was an incompatibility between create and immersive engineering. I had to use a fluid thrower as a median between the mixers and the pumps. After editing, I came up with some ideas on how to improve all of this setup, but I will rearrange everything another time. I'm hoping something like this will work. It seems it is working. Yes, it is working. Very nice, very nice. And now it is actually transporting more than what is necessary. So I'll just tweak this one a little bit. And this should ensure a quite steady transportation of source. Yes. Okay. Oy, 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 oy. I'm going to be honest, I almost just deleted word there. Too much stress. Too much stress. But this is working, and this is good. That is good. That's one thing of the to-do list. Now we have to kind of organize everything of power generation and power transportation. So it is the next day, and I kind of just rested a bit of doing this kind of piping and stuff. It was quite stressful, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, now I've added some structural glass in here to see the insides. It looks very cool how the liquid source just drops. And this is filling up. For now, I'll just kind of refill these storage drawers with some blocks of amethyst. In the future, it would be best to kind of provide with amethyst blocks or shards directly to these mixers in the using ME importers. So everything related to applied energy sticks, but we don't have that yet. So I'll just leave it like this, and I'll just kind of build them up. It is not really that important. You can see we have a huge backlog of a huge backup of liquid source, and all of these pressure machines. It doesn't seem to be spending that much energy either, so it is quite nice. It is quite nice. Now what I want to do right now is this second thing I wanted to do on this episode, and is kind of make these modular routers to provide with energy to the machines, to all of the machines here. I was thinking of using one modular router, upgrade with fluid modules and energy distribution modules. So I want to leave these tanks in here because this will serve as a small buffer before the buffer from the modular routers itself. So here we can have one modular router. Here we can have one modular router here in the block 31. And just so you can have an idea of how I want this to work. So we have the modular router. We can put a tank on the buffer. If we install one fluid module into this, and we say we transfer into the router. So this liquid, we transfer it into the router. Of course, we need energy. But theoretically, whenever this one receives energy, it will take some fluid source from here. 1000 millibuckets per tick, I think. And it will store it here in the buffer. What we also want is one buffer here also. We can use these fluid tanks, and we would like a source link in here. So we can say, instead of transferring into the router, we want to transfer out of the router to here. We can put this in here. And now we would only have to give some energy to this. Before that, I also would like to add some energy upgrades to here. This will have an internal buffer of 256,000 FE and can transfer up to 8,000 FE per tick. That's very nice. I think it's going to be more than enough for all the processes that we will do in here. If I need more FE per tick in order for these machines to work, I'll just add more energy upgrades. They're not that expensive. They're pretty much cheap, especially now that we have Neotic capacitors. And the last thing to do is to give this some energy. So we can grab one of these source jars just to kind of start up this, and we can add one of these things. And as you can see, it is starting to fill up, and we actually need also to have one source jar. Now the last thing we have to do is to add these machines into our energy model. So then we can just right click the energy inputs, and then we can just set this one up. Some of these machines are out of range, so what we can do is add up some range upgrades. Let's see, with 4. Let's put 8 range upgrades, and it is enough to fill up all of the machines. And as you can see, also this small buffer is being filled up. So we have 2 buffers per each polar router. We have this with 32 buckets, and this one with 64. So it's pretty much high buffer. And of course this will fill up. I hope this will be enough enough speed to keep up with the consumption of source. I suppose it will. And of course, if we want to expand that way, we can do the same thing. We can put one modular router. We can put one fluid model that will extract fluids from here into the router, and then another model that will output fluids to a backup tank. We put a source link, a fluid source link above the tank, and then a source jar next to the source link, and then one of these pulsating crystals in any side of the modular router. And that way we only use one modular router for a lot of machines. Now of course we could use only one router for a lot of machines, even if they are very far away. But I think it is going to be cleaner if we use these routers like this. And I actually forgot to install these energy modules. This is not transferring. It's not transferring enough energy. Wow, this consumes a lot of energy. And I don't know why this is not enough. Okay, now this is keeping up, I think. Yes, this is keeping up. It only took 6 energy upgrades. Yes, and we can actually just take out some more upgrades. Okay. This is perfect. So I think here the best thing will be to use kind of very basic redstone logic. And this way we can also kind of increase the amount of RPM we are using for these machines. So with these redstone links, we can just put the modular router on redstone high. Set this one as an emitter, or as a receiver, this one as an emitter. And whenever we want to use any of these machines, we can just, and everything will just start rotating. Everything will just work normally. This one keeps up. We can even put this one more faster to work faster. And whenever we stop using this, we can just turn this off. And everything will just turn off. This way we ensure we don't waste a lot of energy, and thus we don't waste a lot of liquefied source. We really don't need to do that in here, because none of these machines are being used passively. Although this, this is producing a sound and stuff like that, this doesn't consume any energy in idle mode. A lot of these machines, they just consume energy whenever they are producing something. And the last thing we have to take care of is these mixers. And that's quite easy. Nice! And now we can even start setting up also both of these mixers, although we really don't need it. And also because we don't have a way of providing with amethyst to these mixers automatically. All of this is just manually being provided. We also have a huge backlog to go through, so there's no really that much of a problem. Even here, we are still producing and storing a lot of liquefied source, but there's no problem. Very nice, very nice. Now, of course, the very last thing, we also have to provide with source to this zone of the enchanting apparatus. We will still be using this a lot, but it's not for energy, it's just regular source, what we have to provide with. So there's not much problem. I think we can just manage. I'm thinking of stealing some of these of this source here. Maybe we can do that. Let's see, because this is source what we are collecting. Yes, we are collecting source from the mixers. Oi, I really don't like that. We can do something very simple, I think. So here is the output. What we can do is grab one of these and we can do is add up some more of these augments. Range is still here. I think the range is enough I hope so. It seems to be enough. We also need some energy. How can we do this? Can do this. We can use 3 source jars. We'll put 1 fluid source link. We also need one of these. No, I don't think we really need that many energy upgrades for this. But now we are basically stealing directly some liquefied source from the main tank. I think it's better than using piping, gonna be honest. We are still gaining on source. This is so crazy. It's so good that we decided to upgrade to using mixers. And of course this pulsating crystal will take source from these jars. So we really don't have to worry that much about not having enough energy. And that means that we can take out design. And we are only 3 more to go. What I'll do next episode is ore processing. And ore processing together with the ME network I think are the most challenging ones. I'll explain more on why ore processing is challenging itself. Even though this is not great tech. Thanks God, this is not great tech. Ore processing is quite you have to planify a bit. So for example, let's take raw copper. Raw copper, what we'll do is crush it in a crusher, and we'll get these outputs. If we get raw copper, we want to recycle again. Then let's take, for example, crushed copper ore. This one, in this case, we would like to blast it directly. We can't mix it right now because we need sulfuric acid. And this is a bit of the rabbit hole. So for now we will just blast it. This copper clump, it gets crushed again into dirty copper, and this gets blasted on a regular either arcan furnace or in bulk blasting. But if we get iron, we have to crush it, get the iron ore, mix it with redstone acid for now until we get liquid sulfuric acid. This dirty iron, we have to blast furnace it on the improved blast furnace. We get this crude iron ingot, and this is the one we save in order to make either steel or iron. We also get rich slag. This rich slag, every 9 of them, we have to mix it with redstone acid. We get skystone dust, silver clumps, and osmium. And this is very important because this will allow us to upgrade our processing, and we will be able to do sulfuric acid with this. However, with raw copper, for example, we also get nickel. This nickel is best if we just blast furnace it on the IBF. So we get both the nickel clump and the rich slag. This crushed nickel, it cannot be duplicated with sulfuric acid. But what we can do to duplicate this amount is to infuse it with earth essence, and we'll get twice the output, so 2 dirty nickel. And this one we can just regularly blast furnace it in a regular blast furnace or in bulk blasting. So it is a lot that we have to think about when thinking of ore processing, especially because I don't know if I want to do the sulfuric acid line right now, or if I want to wait a bit. I'll have to decide, it depends. Because if I do the sulfuric line, then I'll take a bit more of time to produce the episode. I think I'll do directly to the sulfuric line. I don't know. I'll still have to make all the stuff and then if we have enough resources to do this sulfuric line. But anyway, this is the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. If you are still here, as always, I hope you have a better day, because it can always be better. And I hope to see you next time with ore processing. So see ya. Bye.